Shirzod says, I lose motivation. How do I get that fire back to keep going and kill it? Yeah, so motivation, nobody has it all the time. Motivation is like a warm bath. You know, it fades away. So, you know, if you can only operate when you're motivated, then you ain't going to go very far, because you're going to spend a lot of time, probably more of your time, not being motivated. So you instead need to build discipline, because you can lose your motivation, but you can't lose your discipline. And discipline is what keeps you going when you don't have the motivation. And then quite often, because you're disciplined and you're still doing it despite not being motivated, that motivates you. Because, you know, you weren't motivated and you're doing it and you're not motivated, but because you have the you know, mental power to keep going, and when you keep going through those things and you notice things start happening, you're like, you get motivated again. So discipline is really at the heart of it, and you need to build better discipline. You know, you need to do the things that you want to do, regardless. You have to. You know, it's just non-negotiable. It has to get done. And you can't live with not doing it, regardless of your motivation. So stop looking for the motivation. Start looking for discipline. Michael says, how would you instill discipline in your life if motivation isn't the answer? Very simple. I would say, I would define what I'm going to do. So really, all that needs to happen is you've just got to do the work. You just got to show up and work. And so, you know, Michael Phelps, who's like the world's best swimmer, his to-do list each day is very simple. It just says, wake up, get in pool. That's it. So he wakes up. What does he do? He gets in the pool. What does he do when he's in the pool? He just does whatever he wants, but then, you know, he'll start probably then doing some training, and it's just practice. So pretty much what I do every morning is I just wake up, go to desk, work until nighttime, go to sleep. And I do that every day except for Sunday. And if that happens, if I just keep showing up, if I just keep working, and by working I don't mean watching Netflix, watching YouTube videos, or going on social media. That isn't working. I mean staying on task. Then, and you know, you're never, like, you're going to have some days where you don't get a ton of stuff done, right? But if you didn't get that much done and you at least showed up and you did the whole day's work and you just still showed up, then that's still good enough, right? You're going to have days that you achieve like insane amounts of stuff and some where you don't, but the key is that every single day you've got to show up. And then if you just have that basic simple discipline, then it happens. Like, I used to have tons of anxiety. Will I ever make any money? Like, will I ever be able to get out of my parents' garage? You know, will I ever be able to have a car, right? I was pretty worried about everything because I was just worried, man, it'd be good just to be able to have a car and move out of my garage at my parents' place. And just consistent work wins the day. Like, I didn't know that I would end up like making a lot of money or doing all of the stuff that I'm doing now, but it's just, you just got to outwork everybody. You just got to just show up every day, want it badly, keep going, and just keep going through the storms, because you're always going to have storms and you just got to keep getting through them. And then it gets better, and you get tougher. Like, in the beginning, you're very, very, very weak. Like, the smallest little thing would set me off and I would be like panicking, couldn't work, paralyzed. You know, just you're real weak when you get started. And then as you keep going, it's like it's like just mental training or something. Like it's like you're just getting thicker skin and you're getting tougher, and mentally you're getting tougher. I think mental toughness is something that you have nothing of when you get started. Like the smallest little thing happens and you just get triggered and you just lose the plot. And so with a lot of practice, you get pretty good and you can handle a lot of stuff. The key is you just got to keep showing up. Sometimes you can be motivated in the morning and then by lunch be demotivated. So if you're relying on motivation, you're screwed. You need discipline. And if you want to understand this like at a really good level, plus this movie is pretty good anyway, I would watch Usain Bolt's documentary. What's it called? Yeah, I'll look it up. It's called I Am Bolt. I Am Bolt. Watch that documentary. And in it, you might think, all right, Usain Bolt, the world's fastest sprinter, he must like be motivated all the time, right? No. Like you'll watch it and you'll literally see some days he doesn't want to wake up on time. Like he doesn't want to get out of bed. He doesn't want to go training. Some days his friends are having a party and he wants to go to the party and have fun, but he has to keep his discipline. And when you see that it happens like that for everyone in the world, no matter how high up they are, it'll show you that this is the way it is. There isn't these superhumans that are motivated every day. Every human, no matter how high up they are, they still face the same thing. They just have better discipline. And they also have like support systems around them to keep them accountable. So Jarwood says, you said on one of your Q&As, the best way to maintain execution is not to rely on motivation, but to create discipline. How do you keep your emotions from destroying the discipline you have when they are really strong and intense? Yeah, so discipline is like it's like a muscle, right? Like, you know, if you've never been to the gym before, if you've never worked out, then if you go and like start trying to lift some weights, you're going to be really weak and it's really going to hurt and you're probably not going to like it that much. But after a while, you start to get stronger and you start to adapt. And that's what self-discipline is like. Self-discipline, you've got to think of it as like a muscle. It's like a mental muscle. And so you need to just keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it, and it gets stronger, 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 stronger. And then, you know, you'll be able to control yourself. It's just practice. And you've got to start small. The key is to start really small. Like, you know, you don't try and work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week with intense focus just straight out of the gates. That's impossible. And so what you do instead is you just try to set a very simple discipline for yourself. Like, I'm going to go to bed at this time and I'm going to wake up at this time. All right. That is where I would start. If you can't discipline yourself to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time, you can't do shit. If you can't do that, then you can't do anything. So that's where it starts. Like, set a time for yourself. Like me, I'm in bed by 11 and I wake up at 6:50, 7 o'clock. And if I just stick to that discipline, then I've already built momentum. Then the next thing to have is going to the gym. So I make sure I go to the gym. Even if I don't want to go, I just go and do it. And then I also do meditation. And that's another one of those things. I do it every single day. And, you know, if you build just discipline around these small things, like exercise, gym, sleep, meditation, if you build discipline around these things, then it starts to flow into everything else you do. That's the trick to it. Just start with something small and keep building it up. Shirzod says how to be disciplined. You just do it. Like, you know, here's a perfect example. Let's say I plan tomorrow today, and I say that I plan to wake up at 6:50 in the morning, right? And then let's say I plan to go to the gym at 7 o'clock, and then I plan to do like have a shower and breakfast and everything, then meditation, and then start my work. And the first task I want to do is complete this hard thing that's going to take me about 2 hours, right? Now, we know if here's what would happen. A lot of people would go to sleep that night. No, actually, this is really what would happen. They'd plan tomorrow today, like I just said, and then they would go to bed, and then they would be on their laptop, and they would probably decide to start watching a few episodes on Netflix. And then before long, it's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and now they've said they're going to wake up at 6:50 in the morning. So now there's not much time left for sleep. So now they try to go to sleep, and then they wake up at 6:50 with the alarm, and they're tired because they were stupid and went to bed at 2 watching Netflix. So now the person's probably going to be like, oh, I need more sleep, so I'm just going to sleep in for a couple more hours. Now they do that, and then when they wake up, they realize, oh, I'm behind schedule now. So I know what I'll do. I won't go to the gym, right? So gym's out. And then they're like, oh, and also I'm not going to do my meditation. That's out. And then they go to work on their task, but they're late already. And then they realize, oh, I'm not going to have enough time to work on this task. And so then they start working on something else that's random instead, that they don't even really need to work on. And then they're like, oh, screw it, I'll fix it all tomorrow. And then they stop working, and then they plan tomorrow today, and they think they'll fix it tomorrow. And then they just do the same thing again. They get into bed, Netflix, go to bed late, sleep in the morning. That's the pattern. That's the pattern that most people have, and it totally controls people. Now, to answer your question, how to be disciplined? Don't do that. What you plan, do that. So you'd go to bed at the exact time you said you were going to bed. You wake up on time. You go to the gym. And then you do your meditation, and then you start working on the project, and you get it done. And honestly, when you start to do exactly what you say to yourself that you're going to do, it builds huge confidence, because you start to believe in yourself and the things you say to yourself. But if you start to not do the things you say you're going to do to yourself, then you just consider yourself full of shit and a liar, and nothing you ever say to anyone or yourself will matter, because you know it's not true. And so, you know, most people think that you can only really lie to somebody else. The worst lies are to yourself. Those are the bad ones. And most people are relentless liars when it comes to themselves.